And I want to actually go into the topics now. So Ryan.
Yeah, well, I just want to lay it out very, very clearly, guys, and we'll start with the Hebrew Israelites on this one. Is Christianity used to erase the true identity of black people?
The answer to the direct question is yes. Christianity that we see today has an image of Jesus Christ who would not match the biblical description or geographical description of what Christ would look like. It also says that the Israelites are the so-called Jewish man that's over there in the Middle East right now, which also doesn't fit. So if we're talking about Christianity, and Christianity is about, also I want to point out too, the way Christianity was even spread to black people, to Hispanic people. When they came over here in the Americas, there's something called the doctrine of discovery, where the Roman Catholic Church was allowed to use their form of Christianity, which is why we say it's the white man's Christianity, to come and give us this belief system with the sword. I would love to see in the Bible where the God of the children of Israel told the Israelites to make people believe in him by unaliving innocent men, women, and children, and then enslaving them in the name of believing in that God. And so when it comes to how we receive Christianity is not the way the Lord, let's say if the Christian's position of spreading God's word was the truth. Let's say if that was the truth. The Bible doesn't say to spread it through the sword. There's no text that Christ told the disciples to spread that through the sword. So once Christianity comes and spreads it through the sword, then they are not Christianity. And that's why we say Christianity is the white man's religion, because there is no place for that in the Bible. So I would definitely start there. And then when we come out, there's a term, I think even you said when you introduced Captain Ahchaad, you called him a black Hebrew Israelite. That's like saying the N-word. That's like saying Christian in the Bible. When they call them Christian in the Bible, it's like saying black Hebrew Israelites, like, oh, that's just the black Hebrew Israelites over there. Oh, that's just them Christians over there. It was not a term of endearment. It was not a term of love. It was a hatred for those that follow Christ. And that's why they put the stigma of Christian on them in the Bible. So it's the same way they put the stigma on us. We don't unalive people. We don't harm people. We speak about the crimes that have been committed against us. So when we come out here and say we are the people of the book, we are ridiculed, we are made the joke, and we are told that it is impossible for us to be the children of Israel. But when a white man comes out there and he says, I'm the Israelite or I'm the Jew, it's just easily accepted. And that's the biggest problem that we have with Christians. Even the Christians, I'll determine that if it's on this panel, and then other Christians, because we can't be the children of God. We got to be the adopted children of God because Jesus died. Because God forbid the word nigger is in the Bible. Excuse me. I'm saying that because it's in the Bible. That word is in the Bible. Jews being described as being black is in the Bible. Christ being described as being black is in the Bible. So Christianity is about truth. Like Christ said in John 8:32, ye shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. So if it's about truth, why wouldn't we depict the greatest man that ever lived as he's described in the Bible? So once they change that, they actually hate the black people, because if they loved Christ, they would depict him as the Bible says, not as some stringy haired white dude that they came out in the Renaissance era a year.
Understood. Captain Ahchaad, did you have anything to add before we moved over to our Christian brothers?
I would like to add something on the end of what Captain Tazaryach just brought out. All of these things are evident because when you look at what is in society as fixtures or characters of the Bible, they are all one race. They are all one race of people. And just earlier, the gentleman said he believed that, Hebrew Israelites may be all different colors and all different races and such and such and such and such. You understand? But he still wants everybody to be saved. Who is that one race of people he wants to be saved? White people. It's always about white people. Do you know why? Because Christianity is based in white supremacy. Everything about Christianity puts white people above everybody else. That's why in the white man's movies, Moses is white, the Egyptians is white, Jesus Christ is white. Even though we all know Jesus Christ could never have been white. The very fact that you want to join those people to the salvation of the Bible is because you have been affected and subjected to white supremacy. And that is what Christianity promotes. I yield.
There you have it. Very strong words from the brother Captain Ahchaad there. And I want to give my Christian brothers an opportunity to speak. To be honest, I had my brother Adam speak first last time. So I'm going to ask BK. Yeah. BK, can you just give us a response to that? And by the way, the question here, so we're clear on what we're discussing here.
And I believe because the main ideas was the inaccurate depiction of Jesus, how Christianity was spread.
Yeah.
So if you could address those guys, is Christianity used to erase the identity of black people?
All right, great. So, it's always important for us to define terms, right? So we're talking about the term Christianity, right? Mm-hmm. So let me get a little, nerdy here real quick. Let's deal with the suffix of the word, right? The it and the y, right? That suffix is used to describe a state or quality or property of the adjective, right? So that's the suffix of the ity of Christianity, right? The word Christian, right, from the Greek means anointed, right? In this case, the anointed one, right? So Christiani-Tee is the state or quality and belonging and being part of Messiah, right? That's what the word actually means. Right? Now, if you are practicing to be a state or quality of Messiah, it's good. And I will say that in a powerful way, right? So Luke chapter 9, for instance, then he said to them all, if anyone wants to follow after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life of me will save it. Right? So there is a dramatic change of identity if you are practicing and being a state or being of Messiah. 2 Corinthians 5 says, therefore, if anyone's in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. See, the new has come. Right? There's a changing of identity here. Right? In Galatians 2:20, I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Ephesians 4, starting in verse 22, to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. So yeah, your identity gets changed if you are practicing to being a part of Messiah. Now, there have been evil, despicable white people for hundreds of years who have went out their way to completely destroy and brutalize the identity of Black and brown people. But those people were not in a state of being like Messiah. What they were showing was not actual Christianity. It was vastly different than what the Messiah teach. And a person who articulated that difference so well was Frederick Douglass. This is what he says about that difference, and I'll finish here. Between the Christianity of this land and the Christianity of Christ, I recognize the widest possible difference. So wide that to receive the one as good, pure, and holy is of necessity to reject the other as bad, corrupt, and wicked. To be the friend of the one is of necessity to be the enemy of the other. I love the pure, peaceable, and impartial Christianity of Christ. I therefore hate the corrupt, slave-holding, women-whipping, cradle-plundering, partial and hypocritical Christianity of this land. Indeed, I see no reason but the most deceitful one for calling the religion of this land Christianity. And I yield.
There you have it. Adam, can you add to that?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be I'm gonna try to be brief as I can. I ain't gonna lie to you. I try to prepare as best I can for these exchanges, and I had some things I wanted to say, but I just can't get past the opening statements by Tazaryach and the brother here. Excuse me, I'm lapsing on your name right now.
Ahchaad.
Ahchaad, forgive me. Here's what I think is interesting. Going back to Ahchaad talking about white supremacy, right? I want everybody in the audience to think about the response that Tazaryach gave to the question. Where did he begin his historical analysis? He began with our enslavement, colonization, and oppression, right? Now, I don't know, I got a little bit of age on me, right? And what I can recall when I was coming up, for the most part, when we're taught about our history, typically that's where our whole history is framed around our predicament here in the Americas. Like as if we just sprouted up on the cotton fields as slave, like there was nothing about us before then. Our whole history revolves around slavery. That is a white supremacist tunnel vision rendering of our history. I find it fascinating that out of his mouth at the outset, his understanding of our history in relation to Christianity is indeed shaped by a white supremacist framework, right? The fact of the matter is our history doesn't begin with the cotton fields. Our history with Christianity doesn't begin with the cotton fields. You can't get out of the first century, all right, without seeing evidence of African Christians. You can't. I'm saying we could, as a matter of fact, my brother Damon and Jerome, shout out to them. They talked about it the other day. I mean, we're talking about, for goodness sake, ancient Nubia, being a Christian nation from about the 15th century to about the 1300s or so. I mean, that's a Christian nation on the continent of Africa for about 1,000 years before colonialism. We're talking about Ethiopia, being the first established Christian nation, which obviously was an African nation. We're talking about guys like Tertullian, who was an African theologian going back to the 2nd century. We're talking about legends like Saint Augustine, who we know was an African because his mother's name was Monica, which was a Berber name, which is an indigenous African tribe. Our history spans 2,000 years on the African continent, and all they have to talk about is what happened from like the 1600s or so. That's depressing. If that's your understanding of history, if you've imbibed a white supremacist leaning understanding of history, then no wonder you don't have an accurate view of Christianity. The fact of the matter is, I'm going to try to be brief. If you think about the major nations that enslaved our people, the English, Danish, French, Portuguese, and so forth, the oldest of those nations in terms of in any way looking like it is now would be the British, right? It's the oldest of those nations going back to about the 5th century, which means that Christianity was flourishing in Africa for 5 centuries before any of the nations that enslaved our people even existed. What are you talking about that Christianity is the white man's religion? That's ridiculous. As my man pointed out, BK, the fact of the matter is there is not one single core doctrine of Christianity that hinges on or somehow entails erasing our ethnic identity, to affirm that God exists, that God is a Trinity, that Jesus rose from the dead, Jesus is Lord, affirming, the scripture, Jesus returned. There's no doctrine from Christianity that entails erasing black people's history, anybody else's history for that matter. Now, I will tell you this, and I'm gonna end out here. There is a worldview represented on this panel that is committed to or entails erasing black identity, and it's Hebrew Israelites' worldview. Because when you think about it, if you believe that, first of all, only Israel can be saved, or if you take the version of, which I believe Tazaryach has articulated before, that Israelites are like first-class citizens in the new kingdom and everybody else is going to be under that in some level of subjection. If that's what you believe, then first of all, you're out of step with with the gospel as detailed by the apostles. But as you guys, I hope y'all would be honest and speak to this. Y'all would, when y'all say black, y'all don't necessarily really mean black. What you mean is blacks of a Shemite ancestry. Because when it comes to Hamites, you guys are on record as making disparaging remarks about dark-complected people who are Hamites. When it comes to the identity that black people have built on this continent, coming from a people who were cobbled together from various different tribes and so on and so forth, even in the face of oppression, forging a new and powerful identity that helped us to transcend levels of oppression. Y'all sneer at that. That's not sufficient. That's not enough. We had to throw away all of what we built here in this country and in the Western world because that doesn't satisfy y'all. No, we got to be Israelites. I'm okay with being Adam Coleman, whose folks came from where they came from here in the Western world. Obviously, we're all taken from Africa and so forth. I don't have a problem with that. I'm okay with who I am. I don't have to subject myself or internalize white supremacist rendition of identity and then cast off my blackness just so I can take on, being an Israelite. For anybody out here who actually is an Israelite, God bless you. I have no problem with that. You still need to get saved in Jesus' name. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. But if there's anybody that has a problem with blackness on this panel, it's Tazaryach and my brother over here. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. Unless you guys have let go of that insidious doctrine of ranking people and valuing people less than on the basis of whether or not they're an Israelite. So I'll camp out there.
Tazaryach, how do you respond to that, Captain? About that, specifically about the ranking of individuals based on their status with the Israelites.
I'll touch on that. Before I respond, can you just repeat the initial question that you asked, please?
Yes, I can. Is Christianity used to erase the identity of black people?
Thank you. Listening is an art. And you're going to hear me say listening is an art a lot because these two gentlemen do not listen. This man just broke down ITY. I almost thought this cat was a Muslim. You know, when Muslims say tell our vision because they tell a lie with the vision, instead of answering the question directly. Yes, I brought up slavery. Yes, I didn't bring up just slavery. I brought up the doctrine of discovery because what was important about the doctrine of discovery was that when the Roman Catholic Church spread their Christianity, which is what black people received, black people did not receive first century Christianity. They did not receive first century Israelites. When we received this Christianity, it erased the greatest black man to ever exist, which is Jesus Christ. Out of everything that they responded to, why they didn't touch on why this Christianity got rid of black Jesus? Why this Christianity didn't describe Jesus as he's described in the Bible? Because for sure, he don't have blind eyes, blue eyes in the Bible. He don't have blonde, stringy hair in the Bible. And he don't have white skin in the Bible. So when you say I'm talking about white supremacy, don't get mad at me because they brought a white Jesus to us. And then we as Israelites bring the truth of Christ. Christ says, he that believeth on me, as the scriptures have said, out of his belly shall flow living waters. That's John 7:38. So their belly ain't flowing living waters when that white man brought a black Jesus to us. And then the cat quotes Frederick Douglass saying that the Christianity that the slave master gave us was wrong, but yet he's still teaching it. How Frederick Douglass telling you that's the wrong Christianity, and then you still teach the same Christianity the slave master gave us? You still ain't nobody addressed that. And I want the people that's listening to pay attention. Nobody bothered to touch that because that's the most important. And you know why that's important? The only race of people that will serve a God that don't look like them is us. Is black people. White people are not going to serve a God or king that don't look like them. So you are not going to give white people a black God or a black Jesus and say, this is your God. And they say, okay, I'm going to serve that. You're not going to give the Arabs a white Jesus or even a black God. And they're going to say, I'm going to serve that. They're going to find the belief. Even them Africans he mentioned, them Africans, they're not going to serve a God that doesn't look like them. But black people, we accept the white Jesus. We accept the Arab belief. We accept everything because we don't have no identity. This man said, Jesus Christ said, you must give up yourself. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say, give up your life to follow Christ. He didn't say, give up your identity, because Christ said, I'm not sent but into the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So being an Israelite still matters. Giving up your life is your way of life. The way that you live then under Christ is not the way that you live now. And also, the last time I checked, Hamites or Africans don't call themselves black. We call ourselves black. When I talk to Hamites, and for those that don't know what a Hamite is, that's Africans. When I talk to Africans, they don't call themselves African American. They don't use that dumb Pan-Africanist. They call themselves by the tribe or village that they live in. And they perceive us as less than. They look at us just as the white man looks at us. And I don't know why we got all this love for Africans when the white man didn't come into Africa to catch us. Africans brought us to the white man for slavery. So if we're going to talk about that part of history, let's talk about that. But then we also got to find out, why didn't they bring up the white Christians that replaced Jesus gave it to us, and then we can't correct that. Like, we wrong for correcting that. That's why I had him repeat what the question was. The question was, what's wrong with us?
Hey, we're gonna get a chance to respond, bro. Like, this ain't a monologue, my guy.
Go ahead, Adam. Go ahead. Listen.
Can I answer your question?
It's an open forum. So if you got something to say, Adam,
part of the battle I love.
Can I answer your question?
Let this sizzle in your spirit. Brother, you spoke for about 10 or 15. We sat on this stage.
I did not speak for 10 minutes. Come on,
wait,
bro.
Hey, shut up. If you
asking the question,
whoa, hold on, guys.
Hold tight, Captain.
Cap. Listen.
Y'all can get the good side or you get the bad side of Cap.
Wait, Cap. Listen. We gotta keep it respectful.
You gotta say him. Listen, he interrupted me.
No. Listen, the interruptions will happen. This is a passionate debate, but the shut ups and all the little, we gotta keep that.
Hell no. If he interrupt me, if I give somebody respect and they can't respect me, I ain't gotta respect them.
No, Cap.
He's fired up. He's fired up.
Listen, I get.
I interrupted.
Listen, did you? So
you ain't even got to talk now, Adam.
So, Captain, are you posing the question? Posing the question
to who?
To Adam.
I ain't posing no. I'm talking. So which side you on, moderator?
Captain, listen, man. Captain just turned up right now. So look, Captain, look.
Side y'all on? Y'all on my side or y'all neutral?
So check it out.
I ain't asking him nothing. I'm trying. Listen.
So Captain, close out. Listen, Captain.
May I say something?
I need you. I want to close out here because right now we're not being productive anymore. Let's close out so we can get over.
Wait, hold on, Ahchaad. How you trying to close out with me when I'm being interrupted when I was talking? These brothers talked at length. Nobody said nothing. It's it seems
Captain,
like a bias here.
Captain, continue with your statement, and then we'll give BK and Adam opportunity to
wait. So my brother can't talk after me? Y'all changing up the whole flow for the Christians now.
Captain,
is that what we doing?
Captain.
Come on now, let's not. I don't want to get in victim mode.
We're gonna make sure.
Get your statement going.
No, it's not. Wait. Slow down, moderators. It's not a victim mode. But in the first round or the first segment, I spoke. Captain Ahchaad spoke. Those brothers spoke. We gave them the respect, didn't interrupt. When it got a little hot, Adam got in his feelings and talked while I was talking. Now, I don't mind the interruptions. I do this so that when I interrupt them, they can't cry like a little girl. But y'all got to tell me how it's going to go. You said in the beginning, no interruptions.
Right.
That's what you said in the beginning as the moderator. So if he's interrupting, you're changing for him instead of holding to what you said.
So, Captain.
So what are we doing?
So, Captain, I want you to go ahead, close out your statement. We'll let Captain Ahchaad go, and then we'll get over to my brothers.
I like away games. I love away games. So as I was saying, and let this sizzle in your spirit, these brothers did not touch the most important statement that myself and Ahchaad said. If Christianity is about truth, why did they change the greatest man written in the Bible? Besides God, besides the Most High, Yahweh in the Hebrew, Jesus Christ is the greatest man to exist ever. And if we love Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, why would we change his image? So when we close our eyes and say, now I lay me down to sleep, are y'all visioning a black man, or are y'all visualizing that white man that was beat into us? You're visualizing that white man. So the most important thing when you ask what is wrong when black people teach about being an Israelite or teach about being in the book is because by the time we got this book in America, Jesus Christ was changed to a whole different race, to a white race and not a black race. And neither one of them addressed why their Christians did that. I yield.
And I would like to
go
also
ahead.
add, I would like to also add in that I want to address something that the brother said that we hone our whole doctrine on, what white people did to us, you know what I'm saying? We start there when, first of all, that wasn't the question. We answered the question. We started there because that was the question. But to answer what you said, we don't start there. In the ISUBK or to you Hebrew Israelite doctrine, we teach the origin of black people all the way from Adam. All the way from Adam to Egypt, to leaving out of Egypt. It's you who believes that. And here's something that you don't know. The reason you think we're renewed is because of white people. White people gave you, oh, you were Nubian kings, you were great Africans. It's because of white people. Yeah, you're a victim of white supremacy, brother. And it's sad because in the host said, yeah, Christian viewers, they're confused. They're confused because of you. That's why they're confused. They've been confused because of you. And when it's time to stand on the question, stick to the question and answer what was posed, you can't answer it. You can't answer it. And the ideal of it is to see what you just did just now is the essence of Christianity. Once you start to hear the truth, you can't handle it. You can't handle it. It riles you up. You can't abide by a standard. And that's Christianity, the Christian church in the essence. The Christian church doesn't have a standard. Even though you got a Bible in your hand full of laws of things for you not to do and not to eat and not to drink and not to put your rod in, you can't abide by a standard. Just like you can't sit here and let this man bring out a point after we just listened to you ramble on about whatever you were saying. That's in essence Christianity, and that's what's embedded in you, brother. I yield.
Adam and BK.
Can I respond right quick? Is that
Absolutely.
cool?
Let's get it.
Okay, so first of all, yeah, I do want to, go back to something that Tazaryach said. It's not my intention to offend, so I'll try to make sure I don't interrupt in the future. But he did emphasize the importance of listening, and concerning Ahchaad over here, I think that he may not be adhering to that, because he claimed that I said that they based their whole doctrine on white supremacy and what they did, slavery, so on and so forth. That's not what I said. What I said was, as Tazaryach was giving his reasons as to why he thinks Christianity is white man's religion, his starting point was to talk about our history in regard to slavery and colonialism and so on and so forth. That was his starting point. And what I'm saying is, any view of our history where you frame it around those aspects of our history, I think that it is a white supremacist rendering of history, because there's so much more to our people than just starting on the cotton fields. So that's what I actually said. The other piece is too, just to be, and I'm trying to be respectful here, I really am. But if we're making claims and we're being clear in our claims, it's not our responsibility, to help you to understand where we're coming from, other than to be clear, right? So just because you didn't pick up on our response to the question doesn't mean that we actually didn't answer the question. And I would invite anybody who's watching this playback to go back to what it was that BK shared, and they'll see, where it is I'm getting at. Here's where I'm going with this. We answered the question by making the distinction of what Christianity is, okay? I'm not trying to be funny, but there's levels to this. So really what we're talking about is what's called the law of identity. It's one of the basic laws of logic, okay? The law of identity is that everything is identical to itself. So let's just use a quick analogy. If Adam Coleman says that his wife is 5'4" and 5'7" and black and got with long dreads, and then you see me at the movies with some blonde hair, blue eyed chick, then that means that Adam Coleman's at the movies with somebody that's not his wife. Why? Because we know that in order for that to be my wife, it needs to be how I described it. What I'm saying is, you guys are doing the same thing with Christianity. Okay, we're saying that Christianity, and I'm not going to speak over BK, but we define what Christianity is. Again, those essential doctrines: God exists, Jesus rose from the grave, Trinity, Jesus returns, things like that. That's what Christianity is. Okay, what you guys are talking about was not Christianity. The enslavement of our people, the whitewashing of the whitewashing of Jesus, using colonialism, all of those things, that's not Christianity. Anytime you add something to Christianity, you no longer have Christianity. It's something else. All right. It's not identical to Christianity. It's something else. So what I'm saying is, if you add in white supremacy, then already you don't have Christianity anymore. You have some sort of heinous monstrosity caricature that is not rightly identified as Christianity. So to bluntly answer the question, has it been used to erase black identity? The answer is no. Christianity itself has never been used to erase African or black identity. What has been used is a caricature wherein white supremacists added their cultural ills to the mix, and they perpetrated all these things. What we're seeing here is a failure to make distinctions. Critical thinkers ought to be able to make clear distinctions, and I'm seeing a lack of that on the other side of the house here. Lastly, I want to say, just again by way of distinction, there's a distinction to be made between Christiani-Tee and Christians. Christianity is what we described earlier. Christians are those who profess and can rightly claim themselves as following Christ. So Christians do all kind of bad things. That would include me or whoever else. But just because a Christian has done something wrong or groups of Christians do something wrong, that doesn't mean that Christianity is at fault. The teachings of Christ, the doctrines that I alluded to earlier in terms of what Christianity is, has never been used in and of itself to erase Black identity. It's this heinous caricature that you guys unfortunately are making are not making the right distinctions, which is, I find it interesting that Frederick Douglass, who endured slavery himself, was able to make these distinctions, and yet somehow, all this time later, somehow many of us have lost the ability to do so, and I think that that's really unfortunate. But I'll yield right there.
Go ahead, BK.
Right? Right. So listening is an art form. That's true. So is reading comprehension. That's why I started with defining the term, so that nobody can be misconstrued about what we are talking about, so we don't talk past each other. So that's the reason why I started with that term. 2, Tazaryach, you've been dealing with urban apologists for a minute. None of us think this dude is white. So that's cap, off rip. None of us. Even your boy Vocab don't think he's white. You know what I mean? So that's so just put that. You don't like Black Hebrew Israelites, that term? We don't like you saying that we follow white Jesus. So how about we put that aside, right? We could do that, right? And then you said that Frederick Douglass, he saw the distinction, but still followed the religion of his oppressors. I would love for you to cite a source that shows that for us. And that's it.
So actually, I want to jump in here because it's interesting that you actually made that distinction, Adam. That's an incredible distinction between Christiani-Tee and what a Christian is. I was actually just talking to my little brother the other day about this conversation, and he literally, that's what we talked about, because most people, we don't really understand, many of us, even what many of these organizations were really designed, how they were designed or intended to operate. Very fundamentally, we just judge it based on the members. And that's every religion, organization we know of. We judge it based on the members. So I could see based on what people see, it's a lot of confusion. But I want to actually get back. I want to let my brothers actually respond here to what was stated before we actually move on to the next topic. But do you brothers over here, back to you, Captain Tazaryach, did you have any response before we went ahead and move forward to the next topic?
You sure? Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I just real quick. I didn't say Frederick Douglass followed this Christianity of white people. I said Frederick Douglass said that we shouldn't be following what the white man gave us for Christianity, but we do. Meaning we didn't, we kept following it. That's what I meant. I didn't say Frederick Douglass did anything. I said we did it. For all that reading that he did, Christians, Black Christians, and here's the other thing too, when he talk about, he tried to use the Black Hebrew Israelite connection with apologetics. Apologetics is not in the title. We're not talking about no damn apologetics. We talk about Christianity, and was Christianity the white man's religion? And once you face that they lied about the color of Christ, if they lied about that, what else did they lie about? If we go even further, what verse did they give us in the Bible? They gave us the New Living Translation of Ephesians, the 6th chapter, where it says, slaves, be obedient to your masters. And we still believe that we have to be obedient to our masters. What the Israelites do is bring the truth of what the guy Adam say, first century Christians, that's what he said, first century Christians. We bring the truth of that. So we don't bring out a white Jesus. We bring out a Black Jesus. And you know what's important about bringing out a Black Jesus? When you tell Black people that when Black people's history is looked at as slavery, but when you tell them the man that they've been believing in for years as a white man is a Black man, you know how inspiring that is? I remember in that episode of Good Times, when that brother brought that Black Jesus out, do you know how much good luck they had? And you know who fought him for white Jesus? His mama fought him to put up white Jesus, because that's how mentally oppressive it is in our brain. Right. So in order to get back to the original truth of the New Testament and the original truth of the Bible, we are forced to teach the truth of Jesus Christ, our King. What else would we do? How foolish is it of us as Israelites to come out and teach the truth and not teach identity? You know, if it wasn't important in the Bible about what Christ looked like, it wouldn't be identified of him in the Old Testament and New Testament. In Daniel's the 10th chapter and Revelation's the first chapter, you get the identity of Christ. So if it's written in the Bible, it must be important. So if it's important enough in the Bible and we want to uproot and upraise and live upright according to Christ, why wouldn't we respect that integrity? That integrity should be respected, but it's not. And when the cats say he answers the question how he want to answer, he's just afraid to admit that the white man gave us a lie. We believed it because he don't want to challenge that white lie. He don't want to challenge the white man and say, you were wrong for giving us a white Jesus. But you know what we do? We do. Jeremiah 28:8 says, many prophets of old prophesy against great kingdoms. And that's what we do. Ephesians the 6th chapter say we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. There ain't a greater spiritual wickedness than the Christian church and Christianity with that white Jesus, with Christmas, with Easter, with everything that they make a smorgasbord of God's belief of God's son.
Right.
So how are you going to fault us for bringing out that truth? And the only way you can bring out that truth is to condemn the man that gave the truth.
Now,
that condemn the man that gave us the lie. I'm about to be cut off again.
No. I wanted you to address something else.
Okay, go ahead. That's fine.
Yeah, I want you to address this super chat. So shout out to Mr. Phil Fox. He's got 2 super chats come in. The first one is, what are the core tenets of the doctrine of discovery? And the second is, the doctrine of discovery, yes, was used to push European supremacy, but it was simply a tool and therefore doesn't make Christianity a white man's religion. So what I would like for you to give your detail on how do you explain the doctrine of discovery.
Doctrine of discovery. I'm going to read it right here. Doctrine of discovery is a legal and religious principle that was used to justify the colonization of non-European lands by European nations. The doctrine of discovery was established in the 15th century by a series of papal bulls or declarations issued by the popes. The popes is the Christian church, is the Roman Catholic Church. These documents gave Christian empires the religious authority to invade and claim non-Christian lands. What religious authority was they under? The Catholic Church, the Christianity. So to the guy that gave the super chat, it was a waste of your damn money. It was an absolute waste of your money because it's an absolute lie. And this is what I mean. Like, are y'all going to stand with people that tell the truth or people that tell a lie?
Right.
I can't believe that somebody paid you to tell me that the doctrine of discovery was not about using the religion of Christianity and the Roman Catholic Church to invade non-Christian land. Anybody can look that up. Anybody go Google right now, doctrine of discovery, and you'll see that's what they use. Christopher Columbus said, in the name of the Blessed Trinity, we can enslave these people.
Right.
What are we talking about here?
Can I respond?
Like, we got and this what I love Barakatah Yahweh Shai for dropping his truth on ISUBK in 1969 and not being afraid to face our oppressor, to face the white man and tell the truth. This man paid a super chat to lie.
How much?
How much? How much did he pay in the super chat?
Captain, listen, we want to give. Listen, we're gonna come back.
Can we just know how much he paid? How much did he pay?
It was a $20 super chat, Captain. Now listen.
He wasted $20.
Now